I've got some bad news for you. You're overthinking your breakup. So breakups can feel confusing. They can feel scary. You know, our mind can jump into overdrive as we try to make sense of the situation. When you get broken up with, it can feel like it's the end. It can feel hopeless, and our mind can go into overdrive. The problem is that if you're wanting to save your relationship and reconcile with your partner and get your partner back, this overthinking spiral can make the situation way worse. So in this video, I'm going to break down the main overthinking traps in breakups, how they can wreck your chances of repair, and what the hell we can do about them. So, I get it. When a relationship is on the edge of a breakup or even after a breakup, emotions get sky high. There can be a sense of panic and worry as our mind tries to make sense of the situation. Our brains are wired to start trying to find answers. We think to ourselves, I should call them and beg them back. No, I need to figure out if they're my soulmate. Or maybe I don't deserve to be in a relationship. I just hurt people. Or they screwed this up. I'm never going to go back to them. Or even I'm never going to be good enough for them. So breakups, whether your partner broke up with you or you broke up with them, our mind falls into overthinking traps. And these traps not only mess with your head, they prevent you from ever repairing or saving the relationship in the first place. When we fall into these overthinking traps, they actually make situations way worse, and they can end up causing a lot more damage to perfectly repairable relationships. So like I mentioned at the start of the video, there are 4 main types of thinking traps, and all of them insidiously pull you away from the most important thing, which is repairing the relationship. So the first thinking trap is blame. This is where our mind falls into the thinking trap of wanting to put all of the relationship woes on our partner. We think about all the damage done to the relationship and we put them on them. When we fall for this illusion of blame, we get our mind stuck in the past. We are constantly thinking about all of the things that they did wrong, all of their parts of all of the discords that happen in the relationship, all of the conflict in the relationship. We think about them and their side of things. And this is distracting because it stops us from actually reflecting on the things that we did, that we could do better, that we could be changing right now. So this overthinking trap keeps your mind in a toxic place. And it comes out when you're speaking. It shows your partner that you are more focused on the past by pointing fingers, by looking at who did what, than providing solutions for the future. And this is all going to come out when you speak with your partner because they're going to feel hopeless that the relationship has any chance of surviving. Your partner is going to feel that you're focusing on the exact wrong thing, and they're going to feel it in everything that you say when you communicate with them. This illusion of blame gets you caught up in details rather than forward-thinking solutions. The second overthinking trap is shame. This is where we feel guilty. This is where we recognize our part of the breakup, and we start to feel guilty for the mistakes that we made. This is where we overthink and we start to feel like a martyr, like we're such a bad person that we don't deserve to have a good relationship at all. This is where we feel quite self-indulgent, where we dwell on past mistakes and we wallow and we feel bad and we mope. The problem with this overthinking trap is that this tells your partner that you're more focused on feeling bad, on becoming a martyr and dwelling on all of these past mistakes than learning to work to grow yourself, to change the future. It shows your partner that you're more interested in feeling sorry for yourself than you are about building the relationship and moving things forward, repairing the relationship. The third overthinking trap is hope. This is where we will hopefully find the right partner for ourselves, or hopefully our partner will come back to us. This is where our mind ruminates on a potential future that is so rosy, but like the others, it means that we're not really doing anything about it now. This is kind of like refreshing your bank account to see if you got paid, knowing that you don't even have a job. It kind of feels good in the moment, like you're waiting for something to happen, but you're not going to change anything. And when you're overthinking in this mode of hope, it tells your partner that you don't really want to take any action. You don't want to change. You'd rather just leave things up to luck or chance or fate than actually take action and do something now. And ultimately, in everything that you do, it's going to reinforce to your partner that you are not willing to make changes and do something to change the direction of the relationship, to overcome the emotional and the logical discords that caused the breakup in the first place. They're going to see you in this mode, and they're going to see it as lazy. And the fourth overthinking trap is perfection. This is where we overthink that we have to be perfect, that we'll never be good enough for our partners. They want me to be perfect, but I can't be perfect, so what's the point? This is where we feel hopeless. We doubt ourselves that we can ever make any changes to the relationship. This is where we dwell on all of the things that we are not doing right now. This is where our mind spends all of its time dwelling, but in the future. This is constant anxious worrying about the future, about something that we're not doing right now. This is kind of like where your car is just about to drive off a cliff and it's heading towards a cliff, and you're too busy speaking about how it's going to be difficult to turn the steering wheel in time than actually turning the steering wheel in time. It says to your partner that any change that they want in the relationship is completely unrealistic. And again, what happens is that this will push your partner further away. This will lose more attraction with your partner because internally you've already given up. You've already said that you're not willing to do the work right now to build a relationship. And just before I move forward, if you do want more videos on relationships, communication, or even ADHD, then feel free to subscribe to my channel for new videos every single week. And these thinking traps affect two main things. They affect what action you take, and they affect the way that you speak with your ex-partner. So the way that these overthinking traps affect what you do is that they actually generate a lack of action. So the problem with all of these overthinking traps is that overthinking leads to underacting. You know, if you look back again at these 4 thinking traps, you can actually categorize them as past focused and future focused. So if you think about a timeline, you've got the past, the present, and the future. All of these overthinking traps keep your brain trapped in the past or trapped in the future. Your mind stays overthinking and analyzing instead of actually taking action on yourself and the relationship. And this is the biggest shame of all. These overthinking traps create an illusion of action. They get your brain very, very busy, but they don't actually do anything. They take up a lot of energy and processing power, but they don't do anything. So when you think about blame, or when you think about shame, your mind either spends time in the past thinking about all of the things you could have done differently, or they should have done differently. The problem is that overthinking on the past feels comfortable for our minds. This is something that cannot be changed. So we spend a lot of time in there analyzing. It feels like we're doing something useful, analyzing the past, right? But the truth is that when we let our minds swirl around there, it means that we're not doing anything now in the present. We're not learning and developing our relationship tools. We're not learning emotional regulation skills or communication tools or how to actually repair the relationship. We're simply spinning our wheels. We're spending all of this time in analysis mode on a business that is already failing. And it's the same when you think about the future overthinking traps, the hope and the perfection traps. We spend all of this time hoping that something will change, that fate will intervene, or that your partner will magically just come back to you randomly. Or we think that we have to be perfect and we're not perfect. So what's the point in growing? It's kind of like saying that I'm not fit now, so I'm never going to be a world-class bodybuilder. So what's the point in ever working out? Again, it feels comfortable because it gives us the excuse to take our foot off the gas and have the excuse to not do anything right now. If we just leave it up to hope, I don't need to do anything right now. If we fall for this idea of perfection, I don't need to do anything right now because I'll never be perfect. So what's the point? But these overthinking traps also affect how you speak with your partner. If you're feeling shame, you're going to come across mopey. You're going to feel sorry for yourself. You're going to want reassurance from your partner. You're going to be needy. You're going to be apologizing, begging. As you're speaking with your ex, even if you think you're holding yourself together, it's going to come across in your face and your microtones, in the way that you hold yourself. You can't fake your internal state. So if you're falling for these overthinking traps, it's going to come out in everything that you do. If you're stuck in this hope overthinking trap, then you're actually not going to hold conversations that are crucial to repair the relationship. You don't think you need to address the issues because things will just work themselves out. So conversations with your partner will be very surface level. They won't actually dig deeper and start repairing the discords that are built up in the relationship. If you're internally feeling this overthinking of perfection, then you're going to get upset and annoyed with your partner. You're going to constantly be thinking about how they want you to be perfect and you're never going to be perfect. So you're going to feel resentment and annoyance that they have these high standards, that they want things to be different. And it's the same when you're overthinking with this feeling of blame. You're going to talk with resentment towards your partner. The focus of all these conversations will head in the wrong direction. They won't be forward thinking, they won't be coming up with solutions, and they won't be useful for repairing the relationship. So what can we do? What action can we take to repair the relationship? Well, it's actually not that complicated. It's actually quite simple, the steps to reconcile. So I'll get to that in a minute, but first, we need to stop these overthinking traps, right? If we don't stop these, there's no point in knowing the steps to reconciliation if we don't stop these overthinking traps. Because it won't matter what we do, our brain is going to stop us from doing it anyway, right? So how do we stop these overthinking traps? Well, the main thing that we need to do is we need to log them. We need to become aware of when we are feeling these overthinking traps. Simply recognizing that we are overthinking is the first step to snapping out of it. You know, if you think of when people try to give up smoking, when you're trying to quit, you get into the habit of recognizing the impulse to smoke and then you switch it for a better habit. So with overthinking, it kind of works the same. Recognizing which of the overthinking traps that you're falling for and swap it for something useful, something that actually is going to help you repair the relationship. Now, again, there are useful actions and there are harmful actions. And we'll talk about what are useful actions in a second. But once you build that habit of logging and recognizing these overthinking traps, you're going to start to build it as a skill. And your default will start to switch. The overthinking will gradually reduce. So maybe the first time you overthink for like 10 minutes, the next time you overthink for 8 minutes, the next time you overthink for 6 minutes. Each time you recognize it and catch yourself, you're building a rewire in your brain to catch it quicker and better. And this starts to break this feedback loop of overthinking, this rumination. Because when the loop is going round and round and round, you're stepping in and taking action on it, and you're stopping this feedback loop from continuing. But logging these overthinking traps also has the added impact of when you do speak with your partner next, you'll be able to recognize in the moment quicker when you're speaking with them. And again, this will help conversations flow a lot better. Building this skill and this habit helps you not only internally, but externally as well. It helps you to start to regulate what you do in order to make sure that you're taking the right action to move forward with repairing the relationship and building these skills. And this habit is what I do with my ultra normal members, working on these skills to build better habits so that they can be replaced with stronger skills. And if you want to join us, then join my free relationship bootcamp, where you'll learn the same steps that all of my members have used to start repairing their relationships. Just click on the link in the description to grab your spot today. And this isn't complicated. And in fact, I've actually done a deep dive video on this exact topic, which I'll link to on the screen. Ultimately, reconciliation is often presented as super complicated, but it's actually very, very simple. Stopping these overthinking traps is going to prevent you from getting caught up on the wrong action. Getting into this habit is going to help you massively during reconciliation because it stops you from making really poor mistakes that can actually damage your chances of getting your ex back. So if you do want to see how simple it is to reconcile with your partner, then I'll leave you with this video on the screen and I'll see you over there.